So I'm telling you all this, and I failed the third grade, and how did this happen? What happened to me, my turnaround was, fifth grade, I remember fifth grade people. I was in math class. You know kind of kid I was. I was in math class. There was a big fireplace in the middle of the math class. You know, this huge fireplace, big, enormous. And I'm sitting there in the class, excited, the class clown, and this fireplace calls my name. It says, Earl. Trying to do math. Earl. Okay. I wanted to see what was up in that fireplace. So in the middle of math class, I climb up in the middle of the class. In the middle of math class, right? I get up there, I'm up there for about a minute. The teacher, Miss Tennant, comes up under there. Earl Lewis, get down from there. I come scrambling down. I am covered in soot from head to toe. I didn't think. I was just like having a good time. And when I got down, she took me to the principal's office. And back then, they were like paddling when I was in school. The principal's not a paddle. He had a paddle behind his desk like this big. It wore you out. Because he had holes in it. He had holes in it. The holes were for aerodynamics. And that's when it went across your backside, and you knew it, right? Now, when I got back after school, I suspended the whole 9 yards, and I asked my friend who was in the class, Al, how did Miss Tennant know? That was pretty sneaky. How did Miss Tennant know it was up in the fireplace? He said, well, when you went up there, the whole class did this. They pointed at your seat and went like this. That's how they knew. That's how she knew. The whole class dined me out. So this is the kind of kid I was. So now by the time 6th grade, I was a mess. My parents were at their wits' end. They had no idea what to do with me. I was in one psychologist to the next trying to figure me out. What's wrong with this kid? He's a mess. Well, it changed on this day. We had a career day in school that I went to. It's tough for me to tell this story. This day, we had people, large school, 6th grade class, pretty much looked like this. Teachers sitting around the sides of the auditorium, like that. Parents in the back, they were all excited. On the stage were people from different professions. There was a doctor up here, a fireman, a nurse, a veterinarian, and so on and so forth, a lawyer. And they were all excited to tell us what they did. I will never forget this kid. His name was Charlie Shoemaker. He was, pretty bright kid. And he raised his hand and said he wanted to be a doctor. Interesting, the dynamic that happens in a classroom. You kind of know who the students are getting excellent grades. You know who the athletes are, the ones who are good at running and jumping and all that. You know who the artists are, You know who's the class clown. So on this day, it played itself out. And what happened? Charlie raises his hand and says he wants to be a doctor. The doctor responds to Charlie. Charlie's getting all this attention, and I'm sitting there next to the teacher, because I always had to be next to the teacher. All this attention, I'm sitting there saying, I want all that attention. I got to say what I want to be. Okay, got it. Now, I didn't really want to be this, but I figured I was the same attention that Charlie's at. So I raised my hand. The teacher sitting next to me, she did this. I got my hand up there, she did this. She didn't want me to ask the question, so I got it up there again, and they picked me. I said, what do you want to be? I said, I want to be a lawyer. I didn't really want to be a lawyer. I only wanted to get the same attention that Charlie got. Instead, the whole 6th grade class, teachers included that. No way in the world I couldn't give me anything, let alone found anything. You can imagine how I felt. I wanted to run out of that auditorium as fast as I could. I just didn't deal with it. I realized for the very first time in my life that I had become the laughing stock of the school. My kids were running home thinking that they were laughing with me, and they were laughing at me. They were running home and saying, guess what that girl Lewis did today? It was fun up until that time. I tell you, I think about that often, and every time I tell this story, I see it, I feel it. Hopefully that will never happen. That stays for the rest of your life. How do you survive? Because what I'm talking about is your self-esteem. That affects that. Your self-value, your self-worth. I love this question I'm getting ready to ask you. By show of hands, how many of you like yourself? Hands down. Very, very powerful question. How many of you like yourself? Because that's something that at your age, your hands should go like this. I love me. And I saw some hands that didn't do that. That would have been me. Because I needed to find something out about myself. I needed to discover my passion. That question you always hear, what do you want to be when you grow up? That's not the question. The question is, what do you like to do? What turns you on? What gets you excited? Let's find out. How many of you are passionate? Passionate. The thing that you can do for hours and not get tired of it. Wait, I didn't tell you. I didn't ask you yet. How many of you are passionate about drawing? How many of you are passionate about music? We're musicians. We're the writers, the authors, the future poets. How many of you are passionate about books? How many of you are passionate about math? That just surprises me. You know, that means that you can't wait to get a math book in your hand. That's amazing. Oh, okay, so let me ask that question again. How many of you are passionate about math? Okay, good. How many of you are passionate about computers? Hands down. How many of you are passionate about sports? Hands down. Well, that's your passion now. Hopefully, it will remain, because it's a good passion to have. My passion was art, drawing. I did it all the time. I did it when I was supposed to. I was in the classroom when I was supposed to do something else, I was drawing. My uncle knew this. My uncle was the one, this man right here, saved my life.